Hello, welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David, and today I want to share some of the cards that I've picked up in the month of October. Now, it's been about 6 weeks since I've done a video, and things have been pretty crazy for me. We've just been really busy. I've been trying to focus on finishing my dissertation for my PhD, so that's taken most of my time. We also recently purchased a house that we're trying to flip, so most of my weekends are spent there. And between those two things, it's left very little time to record videos. But I'm hoping kind of by the beginning of next year, I'll be able to start getting back into the swing of things and make a few more videos. But for now, I just want to do monthly pickup videos. And that's what I want to share today, some of the cards that I've picked up and some things I've added to my collection. So I want to start, first of all, with some cards from the Ken Burns collection. So Ken Burns collection is a collection that I put together collecting a card from every person that's mentioned in the Ken Burns baseball documentary. And this includes some people that didn't play baseball that are more historical figures like Cornelius Vanderbilt. So this is an N79 from 1888 produced by Duke's Cigarettes and put in their packages of cigarettes. And this Cornelius Vanderbilt was an entrepreneur who made his wealth through building out the railroad system in America. And he is mentioned in the Ken Burns documentary alongside A.G. Spalding because both men played significant roles in their industries. Vanderbilt with railroads and Spalding in his role that he played with developing baseball, the sort of popularization of baseball and sporting goods. So this is N79 Cornelius Vanderbilt. Another card for the Ken Burns collection is a non-baseball player, Abe Attell, who is a boxer. He is more infamously known as being involved with the Black Sox scandal. So he worked with several players from the Black Sox or the Chicago White Sox in 1919 to fix the World Series. So this is his 1909 E75 card. And there's the back. So kind of cool to have a card of somebody that's more known for what they did in baseball, but yet here he is in his athletic adventures as a boxer. Speaking of the 1919 World Series, this is Rube Bressler. This is the W514 set, and these are hand-cut strip cards that are in color. So I'm trying, part of the Ken Burns collection, I'm trying to collect all the players in there that were part of the 1919 World Series in this set. So that includes the Reds players like Bressler as well as the White Sox players. Now, Bressler didn't actually play in the World Series. He was at the end of his career as a pitcher, and here you see he's listed as a left fielder. He had made the transition. Cincinnati had a really deep pitching core, and he was not needed as a pitcher, but nevertheless, for morale and for what he brought to the team, they kept him on as a fielder. His batting wasn't too great as he made the transition in 1918, 1919, so he didn't play in the World Series, but was still part of the team, still got the payout for that the team got for winning, and can claim himself as a World Series champion. He is in the Reds Hall of Fame, and also if you've ever read or listened to the Glory of Their Times book, he shares some stories from his playing days about different players that he played with. If you listen to the audiobook, you actually hear the interview from the author, and you get to hear Rube share firsthand the stories that are in that book. Next up is one card that I had mentioned a few months back that I was targeting this year, and that is the 1956 Sandy Koufax. So I was mostly keeping my eye out for a low-grade version of this card just for affordability, and was happy to find this one in a low grade, but with good eye appeal. I always have loved the story of Sandy Koufax, and just really interesting the fact that he stepped away from the game while he was still in his prime, and did so for the sake of health. The fact that he's still living today, I think, is a testament to how well he took care of himself and the value that he placed not just on getting everything he could out of his body for sports and to make money, but to try to preserve for his family and longevity. Also, he has cards that he autographed that came out this year in the 2024 Topps product, which I think is really cool to have somebody from the 60s that still you can get autographed cards of in packs. This is another card that I had mentioned trying to target the rest of this year. the Ken Griffey Iconic, probably one of the top 5 most iconically recognized cards in the hobby. So I'm sure you've seen this many times if you're watching this video, but was happy to pick this one up. When I first got back into the hobby during the pandemic, this was one of the cards that I had my eye on, and eventually decided to pick up one and try to get one in about an 8. Anything higher than this grade-wise just to me was more expensive than what I wanted to pay. But this one's just a little bit off center left to right, but still great condition, great card. So those are the cards for the Ken Burns collection. Then I also picked up a handful of strip cards from the 20s and 30s for the Cubs. So this is Ray Grimes. So again, this was a strip of cards that ran this way, and these were hand cut out. This one, even though hand cut, still got a grade of a 5 from PSA. And Ray Grimes, not a super well-known player in history, but he does have one really kind of interesting record, and that is he holds the current record for most consecutive games with an RBI, which is 17. In 1922, he had 17 games in a row where he hit an RBI, and no one has ever been able to match that or surpass that over the last 100 years. So a lesser-known player, but nevertheless one that holds a pretty important record. Then this is a W517 from 1931 of Kai Kyler, and this, while these ran horizontal as a strip card, these ones were vertical, and there were 3 cards in a set. And there's a smaller version of this card, and this is the larger version of the W517 of Kyler, who's a Hall of Famer for the Cubs. So both of these cards were cards I did not have examples of in my collection, and so I picked them up to kind of more so have representation of different cards from different eras. Now moving on to some T206 cards, and this is an area that I have been focusing on for the past month, and thanks to some nudging from Jake's Legends Never Die, I have sort of dove into the deep end on T206 cards and started my quest towards the 520 card monster. Not sure how close I'll ever be able to get, or where it will take me, but just kind of looking now to pick up cards where I can, where they're affordable, and targeting certain players and certain cards, such as those cards that are for the Ken Burns collection or for trying to complete the Cubs team set. And that's where I'm starting for now. So this is Fred Merkel, his portrait, and it's got a pinhole at the top, which tells a little bit of story of the card. But Merkel is probably most known for his play in 1908, the Merkel Boner, where he failed to finish running to second base and cost his team a game, which ended up costing them the pennant, and the Cubs went on to win the World Series that year. So this is Fred Merkel. He was a rookie that year, and this is actually the first sovereign back, T206, that I picked up. So a slightly scarcer back to find than your typical Piedmont or Sweet Cap. But this is T206 from 1909. And then I've picked up a handful of Cubs cards as well. I think in total this month I picked up about 15 to 20 T206 cards. Most of them are kind of in rough shape, but here are the Cubs ones that I picked up: Frank Schultz, Harry Steinfeld, and Ed Rulbach. And these will all get sent off to SGC here shortly to get graded, because I want to grade all of the Cubs cards. Kind of nice. These 3 together all have the yellow background, and I think they look kind of great together as a set. I'm down to only needing 6 Cubs cards after I picked up this Joe Tinker. So most of the cards that I need are of the Cubs Hall of Famers still: Tinkers, Evers, Chance, and Brown. And this was one that is mostly a placeholder for now, probably in pretty rough shape, but the price was right on this one to pick it up, and so I was glad to add it to my collection. The Tinker and the rest of the Hall of Famers can get a little bit pricey and more than what I typically like to spend, so when I saw this one come up and the price it went at, I was definitely happy to jump on it. So this one is a Sweet Cap back, and it's obviously got some staining on it. but still kind of tells the history of the card and what it's been through over the past 110 years or so. So those are some of the cards that I've picked up. Thank you if you're still watching. Those are kind of what I've been focusing on, and really trying to dig more into the T206 set, trying to understand kind of the different parts and pieces to it. So if any of you have set out on that same journey of trying to put that together, let me know any advice you have. I know there's definitely some really big and challenging cards, and it will be a decades-long pursuit if I ever get even close, but something that I am happy to embark on. It's one of the first set of cards that I started collecting after I graduated from college, and just love the history of the set, the lithography, and the imagery that's contained in there. So really excited for that adventure and just to see where it leads. So if you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. This has been Cardboard History.